In the fall of 1992, a man named Thomas Greer, a 38-year-old cartographer from Asheville, North Carolina, was hired by a small publishing firm to verify the accuracy of old state maps. His job was usually dull, checking county lines, updating road names, making sure new neighborhoods hadn't popped up without someone noticing. But on one particular Thursday morning, he was sent to verify a town he had never heard of before, Daring, North Carolina. It was strange. Thomas had lived in North Carolina his whole life, and the name didn't ring a bell, but it was clearly marked on a map from 1964, just west of Bladen County, tucked in an area now mostly forest. The map had been submitted by a now-defunct government office. It was odd, but not unheard of. Sometimes towns were established and failed within a few years. Still, Thomas had a hunch, there was something off about this one. He planned his trip and drove out on October 29, 1992. It was a foggy, overcast day. The kind where the sun never really rises, and everything looks like it's holding its breath. He took his camera, a notepad, and a tape recorder, standard for field visits back then. The deeper he drove into the forest, the more isolated the road became. After about an hour of gravel roads and deer crossings, he came to an old sign leaning to one side. The letters were faded, but just legible enough, "Welcome to Daring. EST 1952. That's when things got weird. The town wasn't abandoned. It was empty. As in, untouched. The houses looked lived in. Lawns were cut. There were clotheslines with neatly pinned shirts swaying in the breeze. Cars sat in driveways, some even with keys still in the ignition. But there wasn't a single person in sight. No dogs. No sounds. Not even wind. It was like time had stopped. Thomas parked his car and stepped out. The air felt thick, like walking into a room where someone had just been talking but had gone completely silent. He walked down the main street. There was a post office. A diner. A gas station. All of them unlocked. Lights still worked when he flipped switches. But the calendars in every building stopped on April 3, 1973. He checked his watch. It was still 1992. Thinking it might be a prank or some bizarre art project, Thomas pulled out his camera and began documenting everything. But when he tried to take a picture of the diner, the camera jammed. Same thing happened when he tried the gas station. The film refused to advance. His tape recorder. Static. Not a single thing recorded. At one point, he entered a small brick library. Inside, the air smelled like dust and old wood. Books were still shelved neatly. But the titles were strange. None of the authors he recognized. The book covers had names like The Cycle Beneath and Echoes of the Hollow. Every book in the building was stamped with the same return date, April 3, 1973. And then there was the mirror. In the hallway of the library was a full-length mirror with a wooden frame. Thomas walked past it and noticed something chilling. His reflection wasn't moving. He froze. In the mirror, his image was just staring at him. Not mimicking him. Just watching. Then, slowly, the reflection began to smile. Thomas backed away. But his reflection stayed put. Still smiling. He ran out of the library, heart pounding in his chest. Back outside, he noticed something even more disturbing. The town was changing. The air was darker. The trees looked warped, almost like they were bending toward him. And the sun, what little of it he could see, was flickering, like a dying light bulb. He sprinted back to his car. But the moment he touched the door handle, he saw something in the rearview mirror. It was him. Another version of him, standing across the street, in front of the post office. Same clothes. Same face. But staring blankly. And smiling. Thomas didn't waste another second. He jumped in, started the car, and tore out of the town, gravel kicking up behind him. He didn't stop driving until he reached a ranger station about 30 miles away. When he tried to explain what happened, the rangers just looked confused. They said there was no town called Daring. Never had been. He showed them the map. They said it was an error, probably a ghost town that was planned but never built. But Thomas knew what he saw. He returned to the publishing office, handed in his notes, and quit the next day. He refused to talk about Daring again. Years later, in 2007, a group of hikers were reported missing in that same stretch of forest. Their last known GPS signal was near where Daring should have been. None of them were ever found, but oddly, one of their phones was recovered. It had only one photo in it. It showed an old diner, with a neon sign that said, "Open 24 hours." And in the window, was a reflection of a man. Staring. And smiling.